You will need flowers. I got these from Dollar Tree. Braid clips. I got this from Amazon, but you can buy them at your beauty supply store. Elastic, floral wire, scissors, and hot glue. First we'll be starting with flower charms. I start using these small flowers, and again this kit I got from Amazon, and I just used the gold and silver braid clips. I start by taking my flower apart and removing this plastic base as well as the center stick in the middle because I don't want this poking through my braid clip. I then reassemble the flower, just putting a small dot in the middle of the flowers, and then I reassemble the centerpiece that came with it as well, just so it has more dimension. I then put a little dab of glue on the back and gently press my braid clip onto the flower. And make sure you can still open and close your clip so that it's not stiff or all glued down. So again, just layer up your flowers after removing the plastic base, and if you don't have a centerpiece, here I just twirl glue around the last petal and make my own centerpiece. Then I put glue on the back of the flower and gently press the clip on. And I highly recommend you let it sit somewhere until it dries. And here are a few finished braid clips I have so far. Here my nephew was being so curious about what I was doing. He was so interested in just gently picking through all of my charms. Eventually, he started being a little monster and throwing all of my clips while I was trying to show you my big flowers, so he had to go. Next, we're making the wire half crown. I used an arbitrary measurement of the middle of my fingertip to my palm of my hand for the elastic portion, and this is actually a great measurement. I've been using it for years and it works. Then you will cut wire, and I kind of shape it to my head to make sure it fits from ear to ear. I cut 2 more pieces and wrap that around the center wire so that it has more support. And then I shape this to my head from ear to ear to get that curved back. Next, you will want to cut apart the leaves that came with your flowers because this will make the frame of the base. I put about 1 inch of glue on the elastic and glue the wire on top of that. Then you'll take 1 leaf and put it on one side of the wire, halfway covering the elastic and the wire, and put another leaf on the other side so that the wire is encased between 2 leaves on each side. And just keep doing this all the way around the wire portion of your half crown. Here is the finished product of your base. Next, you will want to plan out how your flowers will fit on your crown. I never make a crown without planning it out first. And I always start with the middle flower so that I know I have enough space and it isn't looking all lopsided. And again, it's just my own signature type of assembly by taking the flowers apart and putting them back together. I just feel it looks more natural and it flows better and it's held together more firmly than gluing the flower on whole as it comes from the store. And you'll notice I put the flower on the smaller peaks of the leaves rather than the whole entire leaf. And I think it just flows better that way. Next, we're making the wire half crown, and I only do this method with roses because they're a little harder to reassemble on half crowns. And also I like them to sit at an angle, so I keep the plastic base on, but I make sure I glue down half of the whole base as well as half of the rose so that the base doesn't come apart from the actual petals, if that makes sense. And I also glue the neighboring flower to each other so that they are held together from the base as well as from their petals, and they won't fall apart. And I only do this method with roses, again, because I like them to sit at an angle on my head, and I also feel they're a little more difficult to reassemble, because if you take them apart they may look a little stiff and awkward. So this is the most natural look you can get. Next, I'm doing a wire full crown. You will need your floral wire again. So first, just cut off a long piece that you can shape around the crown of your head to make that circle. And it's kind of hard to get the measurement right. I can't tell you an exact method, but I just shape it on the crown of my head. But make sure you leave enough room for your hair so that your hair isn't totally squished by it. Don't you leave too much space to where the crown falls, or it's too big and it falls on your neck. So it's kind of tricky getting the measurement right. I then take more wire and loop it in and out of the crown for more structure. So I'm using 4 layers total for this full crown. And this is a finished product with 4 layers of wire. I then take the flowers I want to use and lay out the design I want. I'm using leaves from 2 different bundles of flowers, and luckily they're the same color because I knew I don't have enough with just 1 layer of leaves. And you just do the same method you did with the half crown of gluing one side of the leaf on the inside of the crown and the other leaf on the outside of the crown, so that the wire is between the 2 leaves. I burnt myself so much doing this, like I screamed a few times. So just be careful. Here I'm all done with the base of my crown, and actually it's kind of cute now. You can use it to like a toga party or something like that. And I use the same method here of taking the layers apart and gluing them back together so that they lay flat. And one major thing about the full crown, I do 4 corners of the circle. That doesn't make sense, but I have them spaced out nicely and I'm not running out of flowers, and then I go back and fill the gaps with the remaining flowers that I want to use. And here I'm putting on the last touches of this crown, and it's all done. Next, I'm making an elastic full crown, which is a hair tie actually. And I just bought this already made, but you can always use elastic that you buy and just glue it together to make your own hair tie. And I'm just designing my layout. And you can do one of 2 ways with doing this. Here you can see I'm stretching the elastic apart and then placing my flower to make sure it's not too big of gaps between, or you can just lift up the petal and place the flower, but just don't put them too close because your headband could be kind of stiff. So I always stretch it every now and then to make sure it's movable and still stretchy. Now I'm making elastic half crown. Here I'm just showing you that I'm missing 2 roses, so make sure you have all your flowers on your bundle before you leave the store. And here I am actually taking apart the rose. First layer, glue it down and glue all of the petals to one another. I took the rose apart because I know the elastic base is too heavy for this small elastic. After assembling the rose outer layer, I squeeze glue in the middle and just press the inner layer inside, and it looks realistic enough. Here, because I don't have an even number of roses, I take my last rose and kind of just cut it up and randomly place little petals on the outside of the main roses so that it doesn't look so bare and has a little more going on for it. Here's the finished look. Next we're doing the elastic half crown. And this is a similar method with the hair tie I made earlier, but I'm just showing you how you do it on the bigger elastic. I glue about an inch square of glue and place the other side on top of that, and I always put my first flower on top of where I connected to the two elastic pieces. I assemble the flower layer by layer. I just place the next flower sitting right next to this one because I know it doesn't stretch as much as the smaller ones. And here I am all done with the half crown. And you can see it kind of looks like a full crown that wasn't completed. But that's because you need quite a lot of flowers to reach one side of your head to the other once it's all stretched out. Now you're all done with all 7 of your flower crafts. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.